All right, welcome back, System Wars. Tonight we're covering Nintendo's E3 conference. So, tonight we have with us, in no particular order, we have Dark Link. What's up?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
We also have JG4X Champ.
Hey, Heil.
Champ, where are you and Dark Link part of? What website? I forgot.
Oh, yeah, you can check us out at endlessbacklog.com.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Backlog.com. There you go.
All right, cool.
Follow us on iTunes, subscribe on Stitcher, follow our RSS feed, make fun of WASD on the forums. Great times will be had by all.
That's literally our new motto, make fun of WASD. Like, have you ever just thought to yourself, man, I want to blame WASD for everything? Death, taxes, the internet being slow, this shitty level in a video game, blame WASD. Boom. At endlessbacklog.com.
So, Dark Link, why don't you help me officiate tonight since you know the skinny and really cared about the conference? Who else do we have with
I
us?
can do that. We also have Dark Spine Slayer.
If I also say endlessbacklog.com, do I get $20 too?
Speaking about that though, like today, I just remembered my bill was due, so that was awkward. At one point, the website completely crashed. I'm like, oh, and they're like, so you didn't pay your bill? I'm like, oh, right, that is due this year. Whoops.
They tend to care about those type of things.
No, yeah, they tend to care.
Who else do we have with us, Dark Link?
We've also got In Before You All on the forums.
Hi.
He's
I'm
lots
so
of fun.
excited to be here.
He is.
And it's Basin Boy, right? We've got Basin Boy here too. I think that's everybody except Willie, who is doing some behind the mic producing.
Yes. Trying to keep us honest with Nintendo. So, we'll see.
Yeah,
so
That's the word I'd use. Honest.
the conference
Yes.
started off totally like the most whimsical, if you could call it, the most lighthearted, fun one that I've seen in a while. It had Super Smash Brothers, obviously, and what did you guys think of that? Reggie battling. Yeah, who's he battling?
Iwata.
Iwata. So what did you guys think of that? I thought that was kind of good. It was like, here we go.
Just that.
It was
just
hilarious.
That whole time, it was hilarious.
Now they put some
Just that
serious.
whole-
I mean, you can make fun of it all you want, but they put some money into that. That I'm guessing that wasn't cheap to make.
No, I mean it was fun. It was nice to see Nintendo kind of not taking themselves seriously for all the time and getting up there and being like, now we're going to talk about Wii U sales. Now we're going to talk about Wii sales. Then we talk about how great the 3DS is. It's like, and no, instead we'd rather show you our CEO and this president of Nintendo of America beating the shit out of each other because Smash Brothers. Okay.
Well, isn't
One
that
thing-
that's just kind of hedging bad news? Like, why would you get them up there to talk about Wii U sales when we all know it's not the best situation?
Hey, see, that's the greatest part. The Wii U
Yeah.
sales have forced them to be creative.
So
Well,
for
it's
me,
wonderful.
it showed early on where they're putting their 2014 eggs in, and quite. I mean, they went back to it numerous times as Super Smash Brothers, which coincidentally was the first game. Now I want Dark Spine to go into the little accessories that they showed that were fabulous. And what can they do, and what do we expect them to do, and do you recommend them for a normal gamer like me?
Okay, first of all, you guys are not gliding over the line. I'm gonna go get Reggie on these asses. This amiibo thing, they're 4 years too late. And version
And they
of
have
Sky.
a really awkward name. Reminds me of like amoeba, which like those can go up your nose and eat your brain. So I'm
please tell
thinking
me
that
why-
maybe
I've heard
They have these
I've heard-
4 years too late version of Skylanders.
Now, is that why you're saying
Kurt-
they're too late because they should have came out around the same time as Skylanders?
They should have came out around the same time as Skylanders. They should have been a thing for a long time. Now, I don't think this is something that someone like you or me will get. Maybe your daughter or someone will enjoy it, but I don't know. So far, they've shown it off in Super Smash Bros., where basically it's kind of like having a extra difficult CPU that you can pop into a battle or fight on your own, or just fight the two amiibos together. And they've mentioned it is coming to Mario Kart 8. They haven't said too much about anything else to do with them.
No, I looked at my Wii U pad when I today, and how is that? How does that pick up? Is it depress the whole D-pad, or what is it? How does it know that you put one of these things on your Wii pad? Wii pad. That sounds so bad. God.
It's that little square below, that little white square that nobody's used before now, just below the D-pad there. That's I don't know. I don't know too much about it. I assume it's similar to the Skylanders pad, but that's how that works.
So Champ, I'm gonna take it to you next, since you pretty have some strong opinions about this conference. What did you think about, first of all, the opening, and
Thought it was delightful.
It was.
I thought when it comes to just purely how the thing is presented and how entertaining it all was, it was delightful. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the more humanized take on the developers. Like, I thought it was a lot of what EA was doing the day before, except it's not concept prototypes. It's more, hey, we actually have a game to show that's gonna be.
People can talk about it while you watch it.
Exactly, and I think it largely benefits from this in that Nintendo's always been this like closed off studio. Like, I feel like so many talented people under their umbrella got lost under the name Nintendo, right? Unless your name's Miyamoto or Anuma or Sakurai, right? But like now you're seeing, hey, here's Sakaguchi the Second, as I named him, with the bitch and hair making Splatoon, and this Megami guy who apparently sucks at the game. Or here's these two guys in a yarn shop talking about Yoshi. Like, I thought, like, that was a great direction for the presentation. I kind of wish more of the big companies did that. Like, I'd like to know about the people making some of the games I'm making. Like, I want to know about the people at Rocksteady making Batman. So, what was the other question? What was the other question?
Just what did you think of the Super Smash Brothers that they showed? The inclusion of they're gonna make your
Smash Brothers
be able to be in the.
I mean, that's a smart move. Smash Brothers looks like Smash Brothers. Initially, I was watching the things. I was going, "Oh yeah, you could be a brawler, a swordsman, or a gunner." Or in other words, you could be Mario, Link, or Samus. But then they showed the customization stuff. So like that's a pretty cool way to do that. It's essentially creating like their templates, but like you're essentially making a creative character, which is cool. Like I think that game could probably use one. The amiibo stuff, I feel like they did a poor job conveying it in their conference, because I didn't know that it was AI until we saw the YouTube stream of all the stuff they were showing. Yeah. Like, I think everyone looked at it like, because initially you're looking at it, it's like, why Mario's already in this game, so why would I need a toy of it? But it's like, no, what happens is you put the thing on your pad and you get like an AI character to come in and help you and take your spot. So,
and
like, I think
oh, sorry, Champ, go ahead.
Like, I think they could have done a better job conveying that, but it's like the amiibo stuff is such a no-brainer for that company, because like when Disney was doing Disney's Infinity, it was like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer for Disney, so naturally gaming's Disney. Nintendo, it's a no-brainer for them.
I'm not saying Nintendo is kid either, but they do have some of the most appealing characters overall, and numerous of them, not just one or two, but numerous of them that could fill up a set pretty easily. But anyway, so yeah, that was you brought up the Yoshi game. I thought that was interesting. I never played the first Yoshi. What was it on the Wii? Yoshi.
It's Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Oh, Kirby's Epic Yarn. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So same art style. Does anybody else get like serious Yoshi Story vibe off of that game? Like, has anybody else played Yoshi Story here?
I have not.
I was getting a lot more of a what Yoshi's New Island should have been vibe.
I was getting more of a Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And that's literally it's literally the same studio making it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looks like Epic Yarn, but there were like bits of it, like the gameplay that reminds me of Yoshi Story. So
they have a yarn fetish, so that's nice to know. All right.
Yeah, imagine all the fun things you can do. Nintendo likes to be tied up, is the thing that we're getting to here. So take that as you will.
I thought it looked, very, very nice, very clean. Some of the mechanics that they showed were very clean. It's a platformer, so Nintendo is probably. Well, they are probably the best at platformers, so I don't know if it's my cup of tea, though. Not because it's not uber serious or dark or gritty. It's just I don't know. It just does. I don't know if I never played the one on the Wii
Well,
or
like
3D. So
Well, like the one thing is, like, as delightful as Yoshi's Woolly World looks, and it looks really, really cute, and so was Kirby's Epic Yarn. But like, Epic Yarn was a total cakewalk as a game. Like, there was nothing really. It was creative, but it wasn't engaging in any way. The same way, like, even if Donkey Kong this year looked really played out and like more Donkey Kong, it's still a more engaging gameplay experience because it like challenges you as a player.
Yeah.
Whereas these games don't.
I want to jump off of that. I hope Epic Yarn like is challenging Woolly World. I'm sorry, because Epic Yarn was fun. Having spent some time with that game, it is a lot of fun. It's like very clever in terms of design, but there's no penalty for failure, so you kind of have no there's no stakes for you to overcome. Like, you know that you will win eventually. Like, you never get any feeling of accomplishment out of that game.
and before
It's like a Lego game.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, what do you think about that, Dane? Before what did you think of that the game?
I had some friends over to watch the stream together, and we all kind of agreed that they took a little bit too long on it. Like, we would have liked to see some more from the other games, but like I didn't need to see the devs sitting there holding yarn. Like, it's cool, but I don't care about that.
And it's a 2015 game too, so which a lot of games that they show at E3s don't come out for a year or two, but yeah, we're not gonna get our hands on it for a while, which I don't know. But they actually showed some gameplay, which is unusual for a reveal. So that was the first time they showed that, right?
Yeah, they teased it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't no CGI cutscene like some of the other stuff they showed. So you have anything to add to that, Basin Boy?
No, just looks like a charming game. I don't know. I think a lot of the announcement momentum kind of is lost because it looks very much like Kirby's Epic Yarn. So I mean, we kind of, I almost feel like that was like a one-time thing, and it's harder for me to get interested in this one just because of that.
I thought we should, before we move on, mention that on Super Smash, they did not announce a solid release date for the Wii U version and pushed back the 3DS version. Is that right, Darkspine?
Yeah, the 3DS version was summer. Now it's October, which is
not bad.
It's not bad, but it's by no means summer. I was expecting a release date, wasn't expecting the push. Wii U still on track for holiday now. They've narrowed it down to holiday. They did also show a few characters during the conference, just so Champ doesn't go off on this. During the conference, they showed off Lady Palutena from Kid Icarus.
Now, Champ, is there any danger of splitting your Super Smash? I mean, I imagine Nintendo wants people that own both the 3DS and the Wii U to buy both copies because that's who wouldn't. But if that releases in October, that's only gives you.
I would argue they're fully aware of how passionate the Smash Brothers fan base is.
Yeah.
And that the majority of people who want to play Smash Brothers the way it's meant to be played at a high level, as opposed to, the scrub level that you're going to get on a handheld, they're going to play it on Wii U. I think putting Smash Brothers on 3DS is a genius move because it's like you're taking your more popular sizes and putting it on your most popular system right now. It's like, I think the bigger worry, I would say, is if Smash Brothers 3DS is in October, what the hell are they calling holiday 2014? December? Like, most games don't, not a lot of games come out in December.
No, it's November.
November.
Yeah, I'm thinking late November, early December on that.
And I mean, I don't want to go IGN about this and just say something that isn't confirmed, but I would argue there's a good chance. I don't think that I don't think that game can make 2014 if Smash 3DS is in October. Like, Nintendo usually does like to spread their things out, even if it's two different platforms.
Well,
I would bet money December just because of Pokemon in November.
I don't think those two franchises cannibalize each other.
Yeah, but I think Nintendo looks at it as stacks on stacks on stacks in a different month.
I'm gonna say that's not the way it's gonna work, just because, like you said earlier, Smash is their eggs in the basket for 2014. If they don't put Wii U out this year, they're fucked.
I mean, they showed a lot in the conference, and they even even after they got done showing
are
the
they
first
not
segment, they
fucked
went
up?
back to it. So definitely a big push for that. So
I mean, but that could also be a desperate way of saying, "Hey, it's still coming. It just might not
yeah, that's
make
true.
it this year."
The fact that
I mean,
they're
the other thing
prioritizing.
is-
So I just want to say the fact they prioritize the 3DS version and release that first tells you plenty about what Nintendo thinks of the Wii U. Like they want to push the 3DS version and they're pushing that before. Like that clearly seems to me like they would rather sell more units of that because there's a larger audience for it right now.
I don't
To
even
me-
think it's that. I think it's easier to do bug tests on a 3DS game because I
me,
don't
it
think it's going to
says-
have the scale of the Wii U game. And I don't mean to keep interrupting you, DSS. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. That's all I wanted to say.
Why don't we
Okay.
have Darkspine go into? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just about to say. To me, it more says that they're willing to fuck up the 3DS version, but they don't want. They want Smash Wii to They want Smash on Wii U to be the thing. Like this thing has got to be perfect out of the gate, and I think they know that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is like, I can't imagine the 3DS game having as much content as the Wii U game. Like, just in terms of the way things have to work and all the different controllers it has to support and how the latency on those works and all these different things that it has to do. So I think the 3DS version is probably easier just because it's a 3DS game. But who knows?
Is there supposed to be cross-platform online play between those? Because they said they were
No.
completely different stages. So I'm like, how do you even start that?
I don't
No
think they're
cross-play.
going to because they've already said they'd played differently.
It's still not exclusive, Willie. So haha. So anyway,
Confirmed
we'll move
no
on here.
cross-
Darkspine. Why don't we go on to the next game on the list there that they just posted there, the third game there. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Trying to find the list here.
Legend of Zelda.
Zelda. Okay.
Well,
Hyrule
that-
Warriors.
Yeah.
It's we're doing Hyrule Warriors. I thought we were doing the other one.
Yep.
Oh,
Hyrule
okay,
Warriors. I will not tolerate. I just want to say it right now. Not going to tolerate negative comments on this game.
I'm not going to make any negative comments on this game. I think it looks different, but I think it looks kind of interesting as someone who's never played Dynasty Warriors, never been a huge Zelda guy. It's something I'm actually interested in. To me, I'm more excited for what it represents about Nintendo being more willing to hand off some franchises. I'd like to see, for example, them bring back the Wipeout team and give them F-Zero or something. But as for what it is, it looks interesting. Maybe not $60 interesting, but something I will be looking at.
Did you guys watch the Treehouse thing for it?
No. What was
No.
They had a big part. I'm probably going to pronounce his name wrong, but Midna, the character from Twilight Princess, they were showing gameplay parts with her and Link, and from what we saw, Midna only used like 3 different moves through the whole thing, and I was just kind of underwhelmed.
It's kind of Dynasty Warriors, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Not really.
But there was just a large crowd of these enemies that were just kind of standing there waiting to get swept up by this big yellow hand tornado thing and running around on a wolf. And I was just like, I'm not impressed.
Just one last thing. I'm waiting for Tingle to be confirmed as playable. Just let me believe.
Oh God.
Keep waiting.
Please don't. I mean, I think it looks fun personally. I like Dynasty Warriors 8 a lot. I had to play that game for review. I did not think I would like it. I enjoyed it immensely. It's a lot deeper than people give it credit for. There's a lot of different custom combinations you can do with the weapons. You can switch weapons on the fly. So if Nintendo incorporates something like that into the Wii U version of that game, I think it'll have a lot of depth to go with, especially with the different characters, like the way that it plays. So I think it's kind of written off as being overly simplistic when in reality, like the people who were using the same 3 combos over and over again are just using the same 3 combos over and over again. That's not the game's fault. They just relied on those 3 things.
That's fair.
Champ, what'd you think of the game?
Thought we weren't allowed to say anything negative. I mean, okay.
It's just Darkling.
I mean, listen, I don't want to be the asshole who brings up the fact that we ridiculed Little Planet yesterday for having ship platforming. I'll just merely say that Nintendo has a different hack and slash in their conference that has deeper gameplay than any Dynasty Warrior games has ever had to offer, and I'll move forward.
I think it looked better than what they showed last year for sure, but still, I need to see more. And I agree with Darkspine where I might and probably will play it, but not at $60. I'll probably GameFly it. Basin Boy,
All right.
what'd you think?
I'm not particularly interested in. I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game since the PS2 era, so
I've
but
never
I know
played one.
exactly where this is going. What's more interesting to me is that, again, yeah, like what we said earlier, that Nintendo is kind of loosening the reins over their IP. But that's kind of a two-edged sword in this instance because I don't know what sort of quality control is in place for this, and it kind of just feels like like Mario Dance Dance Revolution, like we just needed to have a Zelda Dynasty Warriors. So like I don't know, I'm just
And that is that this year? 2014, September.
Yeah, it's September 26th, 2014.
So, all right. So, Dark Link, why don't you go into the next game on the list, which was...
Hold on 1 second. I have to
Real
find
Zelda,
it.
maybe?
I think it's this one.
Our chat filled up with entirely too much stuff between the list. So the next thing was Smash Brothers, which we talked about.
And the real Zelda.
And the real Zelda. So, for the real Zelda game, we didn't get a lot of information. We got a Genoma coming out, talking about what the team wanted to accomplish, showing us some stuff that looked gorgeous, talking about how the game is much more open than anything they've made before, and that you can go pretty much everywhere you see at any given time. So kind of taking a page out of A Link Between Worlds playbook. And then we got a very brief kind of gameplay teaser of what it was with a character who may or may not be the Link. So, I guess because Goggins going to want to get this out of the way, I'll start with him. Champ, what did you think of that?
First of all, Ijanuma is a pretty bitchin' name. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it sounds like it's one thing, but it's actually both of his names, but whatever. No, he was saying all the right things. Like, I think a word I'd use to describe Skyward Sword is frustrating. Like, not in the new normal way everyone takes it, which is frustrating as in difficult, but more like there's moments of brilliance in that game. It's ruined by some of the baggage Zelda has refused to drop. So, like, if Link Between Worlds is the game where they drop the baggage, and now Anuma's taking it in the direction that he kind of wants to take it, like, make some more changes, like, it's sounded like the type of things you want to hear. Like, hey, we're going to make more open puzzles. Like, they're not going to be one-answer puzzles. They're not going to be you go in a linear fashion, and you got to come around in different areas. You know, it's going to be a seamless world, and, like, all that stuff sounds great. The problem is, like, a lot of things shown at E3 this year, there's no actual gameplay footage. It's a cutscene. Like, you get to see how beautiful that game looks, and it looks gorgeous. Like, for Wii U hardware, it looks gorgeous, but, like, all things considered, that's not gameplay. You're not watching a human being playing a game. You're watching a cutscene from that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heil, did you see it at all? Have you seen
I watched that
footage?
one. Yeah, I thought it looked beautiful as well. Got the, he mentioned you see those mountains over there, and, you can go to those if you want. So I kind of got the Skyrim type open world like thing. Only thing I'm worried about is, will the open world be like really empty, or I don't really care really about enemies, but if you're just traversing, that's what Skyrim's problem early on for me was, you have to go from point A all the way to point B, and you don't have a horse and fast travel yet. That was a chore, not always the funnest. So it'd be nice to.
But Zelda has a horse.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if you get that early on or whatnot, but I'm saying I hope the world is interesting and alive, and lots of side missions and quests and things to interact with, not just go to point A to point B always on the map just because we have an open world. Make use of it and put some interesting content in there. That's what I would like.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Like, the example I'm going to use real quickly before I pass it off to somebody else is Twilight Princess. Like, Twilight Princess was a huge game, but the world kind of felt empty at times. So, like, it'll be interesting to see them kind of try to, like, balance it, or maybe go back to, like, the style of Wind Waker where the world was big and felt like there was stuff you could find at any given point. What did you think? And before you all, I know you wanted to say something about it.
I wanted to say something more about the puzzles and the open world, but
go ahead. Yeah.
I really hope that the puzzles don't suffer as a result of it being like open world and having multiple entries to it. Like, I know that it's probably harder to develop a game that can have puzzles that you can just start doing from any way, and I'm not sure how they're going to handle that and if they're going to be able to do it well.
I'm gonna assume it'll be something like A Link Between Worlds. Like the game will tell you that, or like heavily imply that, hey, you kind of need a bow to do this, and then maybe you can rent that item before you get access to it or something. So you may not have access to every section at any given point. It may be like, hey, you can go to this place, but you kind of need your next item before you can go inside here. So kind of Metroid-y, where like you can explore as much as you can, but you're not always going to be able to get to every place because you don't have the necessary gear. That's what my thought is.
Aren't we at the point though where Zelda probably should be experimenting with it? Like, I agree with you. It is definitely going to be a different challenge for them. Like, especially making a puzzle with multiple solutions and making it compelling is extremely difficult. Because if it has multiple solutions, it's very easy to just make that puzzle a cakewalk. But like at the same time, like I think Zelda's linear puzzles have, like any other franchise, that gets stale after a while. Like it's time for them to do some puzzles that are like, I'm done with the whole, this is the bow dungeon, this is the hookshot dungeon, this is the dungeon where you use the wind thing.
Yeah,
which they have in every game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like think of the leaf from Wind Waker, the blowy leaf thing. So something like that. Yeah, or the boomerang.
Yeah. But like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's time they were finally thinking, like, how can we use multiple items in a dungeon? How can we come up with puzzles that you can think that require more some like outside of the box thinking?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it is really hard to do that. I don't know how they're going to do it. I hope they'll do it, but like it kind of concerns me that team has never done that before. DSS, what do you think of that? Like, what do you think? Do you want to chime in on that? Do you want to just talk about the game in general?
I guess I'll kind of work towards chiming in on that. I'm completely fine with Legend of Skyrim. Speaking as a Zelda noob, I finished maybe 2 games in the series, and I got the most joy out of Link Between Worlds. My only real problem with that, though, was the item rental system did kind of take away a big sense of progression for me. And again, I'd like to see them mix that up. I'd like to see them depart from the usual enter dungeon, find item, use item for that dungeon formula. And I'd like to see Zelda get epic again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a thing, which is, like, personally, like, I really want them to take a Metroid approach on this one. Like, where it's not obvious that, like, you have to go here next, or you can explore these areas and you think to yourself, I should come back here later, see what changes that I can do later. Because I think Champ brought up a really good point. Like, after a while, you kind of get tired of the fact that, like, this is the bow dungeon. Every puzzle after this point will involve a bow. And so you're not thinking about, how you solve that. It's like, sorry, go ahead.
If they were to build on the dungeons, like maybe early game dungeon, it's the bow dungeon. Maybe dungeon after that, it's the bow and hookshot dungeon, and just keep building. Don't forget these old tools. Like, that's a trap Zelda falls into all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Basin Boy, what did you think of the Zelda for Wii U game that we have no title for?
Well, a few things. Like, this is clearly like a 2015 quarter three or quarter 4 2015. So like the fact that the world goes gaga over like 90 seconds or however long this Zelda demo was, and it was largely still for the first 60 seconds or whatever, like, just kind of irritates me. That aside, Zelda is like the most relevant franchise, I think, to the hardcore community that Nintendo possesses. So I think it was time that they needed to really switch up the formula. And a lot of people have been critical for a while now for that. And just like we were mentioning, like, you can't have just the bow dungeon and use the bow then only, and then just completely forget about it as the game progresses until, like, because I think Twilight Princess had that, where you had like a dungeon where you used an item and then you didn't even use it again ever until the very last dungeon. And it was like, well, that just feels like Ocarina of Time got like completely just remastered and re-released to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to keep your items relevant throughout the whole game, which is something that frustrates me. Like, the bow is always important, right? You're always going to use your bow. Your bombs will usually appear in a couple dungeons, But like then you get that weird ass like wind item that only shows up in that one place and you never touch it again. And you're just kind of like, why would I ever equip this? So I think definitely if you're going to use something that has multiple entry points or multiple ways to approach a puzzle or multiple like ways in which you can tackle the content, you really need to have it so everything is represented at some point, or you don't just put that item back in your bag and never touch it again.
I agree. One last thing I want to bring up is like, because Nintendo's kind of pussyfooting about who the character was in the thing. Like, who are we thinking that isn't Link, or are they just being intentionally vague here?
I don't think that's Link. That looks really feminine to me. I'm like, I will go out on the record and say now that is a woman. Like 100%, I believe that.
I almost feel like Nintendo is teasing that they're going to allow you to choose between a male or female variant of Link.
Oh.
And that's what cool. When I looked at it, because it looks too much like Link to be like, then who is it, right? And people are saying it's Zelda. And I think Nintendo got the message from their fans is like, there's been movement for a while, like go open world, give us more like player customization. But I think like once you start customizing too much, Zelda stops being Zelda, right? It loses its identity in that sense. But I think that they have enough leeway there that they could offer a variant of Link. And I'm pretty suspicious that's what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. Like, I fucking love that you said that. That's wonderful.
It could be Link's sister.
Yeah, it could be Link's sister.
Could be. I'm not even saying that as a joke, but like maybe finally someone else is getting the spotlight. Like Errol, that's her name, right? Errol.
Yeah.
Like she's usually there to be another damsel. Why not? Why not have her say Link and Zelda?
Yeah, why not put Link, the damsel in distress, in this game and have his sister, whoever, rescue him? I don't know. It's a novel idea.
Yeah,
I think
why is I'm sorry, Basin. Why is a male being in danger called a damsel? Why are you objectifying women that way? You sexist.
Oh, boo-hoo. It's the internet.
Shots fired.
I think it's
Carol
really
will
awesome.
write an article about it.
I know. Pedal to the metal, too sexist.
Yeah. I just think it's cool at this point that they're kind of like, there's no reason we can't have a female protagonist in Zelda because it's a series about a legend. It's a series about this reincarnation of this one character. So why not have that character be female? Why not change that up? It doesn't have to be like that same boy every single time. It's the idea of that hero more than who that hero is. Kind of a mythic character.
That's because Nintendo also had a better leading lady who's now been sidebarred.
Yeah.
All I hope is that the Zelda team, creative team, whatever it is, does something to abandon the nonsensical timeline that has been constructed. Just something to clarify all that nonsense, because that just needs to die.
I think they put too much work into making that happen, and it makes sense if you think about it. I mean, I just don't really care. I think it's cool. Like, I always assumed that was like, okay, Ocarina Majora's Mask, Wind Waker takes place at some point after that. Like, beyond that, who knows? That was my timeline for Zelda. I don't know. So maybe not. They probably won't. They'll probably just release another Historia with like new updated timeline, because people won't shut up about that shit. Anybody else want to touch on Zelda real quick?
What did you guys think of the cell shaded?
I like it.
It's good.
Gorgeous. Kind of reminds me of Skyward Sword's art style mixed a little bit with Twilight Princess. So good stuff.
I gotta see more before I comment. So. All right, so what else we got here? So
Kirby's Rainbow Curse.
I did not see that.
Day fucking one.
It actually loaded. It actually looks really good. I really loved Canvas Curse, and that was one of the games that first justified the DS. But I don't know what else to say about this. The clay art style looks good.
Hashtag Tank Kirby.
Right? I'm gonna put out this thing that I was getting these weird vibes from an old N64 game again, and no one else will get it. Does anybody else like seriously look at that game and think besides Canvas Curse like Crystal Shards, or is it just me?
I didn't get that at all.
Okay, well I did, and Phil did on endlessbacklog.com. Shameless plug. So.
Which you can listen to on iTunes or subscribe on Stitcher.
Thank you, Goggin. We're gonna.
I think we're almost at the.
We're here all night. So anybody want to touch on Kirby real quick, or do we all agree that it looks good? Looks like more Kirby, and we're hype. Or any thoughts?
I like that they're messing around with art directions lately. Like
Yeah,
everyone's
isn't-
like, they're not gonna win a resolution contest with anybody, but they're basically masking their hardware by coming up with these like vibrant color schemes and like using these art direct like the yarn for Yoshi. I don't care. You don't need expensive hardware to make that game look beautiful. Like I think that's one of the best looking games that was shown at E3 visually, and I think the same way with Kirby. Like that, the clay shit is kind of cool.
Holy shit! You get to use the stylus in that game? Fuck! I threw
Yeah.
mine away. I didn't think you needed it.
Time to use your finger, Kyle.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You have a 3DS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you still
Yeah,
have the
use that
stylus
one.
for that. There you go.
All right.
Anybody else on Kirby? Nobody?
All right. Let's have Champ bring in this
Triple
one.
Deluxe
because-
was awesome.
Let's have Champ
Yeah.
bring in the next game here. I think we all know what that is.
So, the game that he's gonna trash just because it didn't get a
Why
release.
would I trash Bayonetta 2? It's the best game they have to offer this year.
Amen.
And the Nintendo platform. It's the game that has the deepest gameplay of anything Nintendo's shown at E3. Period. I mean, that much isn't even debatable. So, I mean, and pairing the original Bayonetta with it is a smart move. It's gonna sell 4 copies, but whatever. I'm cool with that. Bayonetta 2 looks fantastic. It looks like they're doubling down on the crazy. They brought Yugi Moto into the game or something, I guess. Whatever. So, I'm down. Bring it. Oh, right. The negative part is they didn't give a release date. Fuck them.
Oh, yeah. No release date.
October is not a release date. October 2014 is not a release date. That is a month and a year.
That is a
There are
jam-packed month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other reason why it's fucked.
yeah.
Like, I don't see not to get super whiny about this, but it's like Bayonetta 2 wasn't gonna sell well anyway. At least not on the Wii U. But it's like you put it out in the same. You're gonna sell Smash Brothers to your fan base on the 3DS. Like your fan base is gonna be tied up in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
They're
They're not gonna
not-
go outside.
Yeah, like they're not gonna look at Bayonetta, even if Bayonetta is an infinitely superior game. Like it's just not gonna happen.
And well, plus all the other systems you've got like Assassin's Creed and Battlefield, and everybody's
Yeah,
just
all these other
jammed
bad
into that
games to
month.
play instead of Bayonetta
Well-
going to destroy it.
Well, those games are going to have huge marketing budgets, and Bayonetta's not. So, like, I don't know how they're going to get the word out that this game even exists to the casual gamer.
Does
Or
the casual
Bayonetta.
gamer even care about Bayonetta though? Like that's
No. Well, the general audience, let's
There
say,
you go,
not
that's
casual
better.
gamer.
But
Okay.
we say that, but does like the internet gamer really give a shit either? Because it's like even on the internet, it's like the enlightened people are the ones that like Bayonetta.
right.
I like-
half this podcast likes Bayonetta.
I like
There's an
that
awful lot of
classification.
There's an awful lot of whining for the internet gamer not to care about Bayonetta.
Yeah, I mean, you would think like they're the really loud but small group, right? Like more Bayonetta, it's like those same fucking 5 people on Gaff that won't shut up, and like me and Goggin are half of them. So that's what that is.
I'm really
Um,
hyped that they're giving us the first game with it. Like, as somebody who didn't play the series before, I'm probably definitely going to pick it up now because of that.
Why do you have to troll me on System Wars then, man? What is this?
That was a
System
pleasant
Wars,
surprise.
fun.
Right. Okay.
The inclusion of the original was a pleasant surprise for me. Like
It has value for sure.
Yeah.
It's a great additional value to the package, but
You're guaranteed at least one excellent game for $60.
Yeah.
I bought the PS3 version of Bayonetta. I haven't sat down and played through it yet. I might just wait for the Wii U version now since it'll play better. But
Now, ask Champ this: would you be able to play Bayonetta effectively with the gamepad?
I bought the new the what is it called, the Pro controller or whatever. I think that controller is mostly fine. Like I mean, I think
great controller.
Yeah, the controller is good and fun. Like I would not want to play Bayonetta on a Wii U pad just because I think I want a lighter controller because you need to move at a really fast pace in Bayonetta, and I think that big clunky thing is going to be a little agitating.
Man, I really don't want to buy another controller.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue. I mean, it depends. Like, if you're playing Bayonetta at the level that I'm trying to play it at, which is I'm trying to platinum all the levels.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. I'll never
yeah,
do that.
but Bayonetta is a great example of a game where it's easy to pick up because you could be a total bitch at that game and make it to the end. Like, there's people that get the sword and just why their way to the end like it's God of War or something. So, like, I think it's perfect. Like, go play fine on the Wii U. And the other thing. Well, I was gonna say last year they showed like if you actually tap on the touch screen, it does like advanced combos for you. So, like
I was doing fine in the first game till what were the twin enemies that show up?
You mean in the first chapter?
No, were they the first chapter?
Yeah, man.
No.
Wait, the twin enemies? You mean the Durgas or like the two dogs?
What were their names?
The Durgas are the guys that have claws. Then there's the dogs.
No, this was like Grace and
Man, I don't know. I don't remember the. Listen, as someone who has beaten Bayonetta 7 times, I don't know what the hell happened in that story.
There was a story. I
There's
tuned that
allegedly
cutscene out.
there's allegedly this whole thing about how the bad guy's her dad or some shit, and the little girl is her, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. There's a giant dragon where the head is connected to the head, and then another head there. Like, what the fuck? I don't care.
Grace and Glory.
I don't remember enemy names. I just remember them as things. The Durgas are the only thing I remember because the Durga's weapon in that game.
All right.
Sorry.
So I know that the first Bayonetta was kind of like a score type game. Like you could just play it, or you could go for like the best possible score. Were there like leaderboards, or how is it going to work with the touchpad being able to allow you to do advanced combos?
Well, so here's the thing: is like on the higher difficulties, here's the thing: if you're playing on the lower thing, you just don't get a lot of points for it.
Okay.
You flat out do not, because the thing about Bayonetta, it's a lot like Devil May Cry. You have to use varied combos. If you're using the touch screens, it's really only doing like a handful of canned combos, right? Like it's not actually doing any variety to it. Plus, if you're using the touchscreen, you're probably getting hit once or twice. And the idea of Bayonetta is you need to beat the level without ever getting hit to get like the maximum score. So like the top of the leaderboard guys, all two of them that will buy the game are going to, like they're going to get to the top because they're just going to play the game at a high level. So like that stuff is fine. Like I think there's enough fail safes in these games to like separate the best from the middle class, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those games that you can definitely finish, even if you're not particularly great at those kind of games. Like, I fully admit I'm much better at a game like Ninja Gaiden than I am at Devil May Cry. But I can finish those kind of games, and if I work hard enough, I can get pretty good at them. So, like, there's definitely that thing there. And I would imagine that the touchscreen thing is like the one-handed mode in the original release.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, doing automatic stuff for you. But
no, that's basically what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Bayonetta 2 looks good. I think it's cool that they're putting in little Nintendo costumes in there, like the Zelda stuff. There was a Metroid costume, right? Yeah, so that's cool.
So we should probably make a quick mention of the other Wii U exclusive that they showed along those lines of Bayonetta, which was the new Ninja Gaiden game. The hell is that called?
What?
Devil's Third?
Devil's Third.
So they showed a little bit of that. I'm not interested after how bad 3 was. So, but what do you guys think of that? Anything worth talking about?
Itagaki's back.
Yeah,
this game doesn't look good though.
I think that game is under the really unfortunate position of we didn't have money for a good chunk of the 4 years that this game has been in development, so we couldn't really do anything. And the other times we did have money, Itagaki spent it all on hookers and blow, so nothing got done. But I'm very, like, out of all the fucking people that picked this up, like, I was following that game pretty closely. A while back, they announced that some Korean publisher had picked it up, and that's what they were going to go do, and then I guess that didn't happen because now Nintendo's doing it. That's, like, the last company I expected to pick that game up. I like the ideas behind it. Like, you can see some really cool core ideas in that game, but I do agree it's kind of messy. Anybody else want to chime in on Devil's Third?
Well, like,
did you expect Nintendo to pick up Bayo though? Like,
no, but I mean, there's a difference between Bayonetta, which is like kind of campy violence, and like an Itagaki game, which is like full on over the top. Like, this girl has double G's and is gonna wave them in your face. We're going to do ridiculous shit and laugh about it, and it's going to be wonderful type of game. So, yeah.
Bayonetta's a stripper. Itagaki stuff is more like porn.
Yeah.
In comparison. But, like, so we were, like, again, because we're not allowed to say negative things about Dynasty Warriors, but like when you look at the Dynasty Warriors game they're making with Zelda, like Nintendo takes care of their own property, so you get the sense when you're watching Hyrule Warriors, they went up to the Dynasty Warrior guys like, no. You better make this game good.
Our
Like,
name is on the box.
Yeah, our name is on the box. So I feel like Nintendo will go through this game and be like, yeah, our name is on the box. We understand we're not selling, but Itagaki, like, here you go. Here's some money. Let's clean this game up a bit. So,
Yeah.
like, if this game is most likely going to get delayed, but, like, if it doesn't and it's going to come out in that state, that's not.
Do we even have a release window for that game, or do we know that it exists? Do we get a release window? Does anybody know? Yeah, so I don't think we're going to see that this year. I don't think we're going to see that until, like, maybe middle of next year at the
Yeah, it says
earliest.
2015, so...
Yeah. That's like a quarter 2 game at the very earliest. Anybody else on Devil's?
It needs to be a Q4. Well, not a Q4 to sell. It needs to be at next year's E3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Anybody else on Devil's Third, or are we good? Okay. Kyle, do you want to introduce the next one, or do you want?
Yeah,
to
Project X finally got its official name, and Xenoblade Chronicles X, which got me excited till they showed 2015.
Yeah.
So I'm really upset with that. I mean, like, third world problems, right? First world problems of your favorite video game.
Third world problems.
Your favorite video game gets delayed, so. But I was really looking forward to that because there's not too much else I'm buying for the Wii U this year, so I really, really wanted that game. But I guess they'll release it when it's done, so I don't know. Not too much else to say about that. What about you guys?
Did you guys watch? You go.
I'm just gonna say, as like a huge Xenogears fan, I will follow that team like to whatever they do, on the off chance that it resembles Xenogears in the slightest bit, and there's bits of it just from the story dialogue that we got that look like kind of Xenogearsy to me, and the visual design and the mechs and all that fun stuff. So, yay, Xenogears spiritual successor. But did anybody like look at that trailer and like, oh my god, like they must have gone to Square Enix to get tips on how to make this the most Japanese fucking trailer in the world? Like, these are words. They are in Japanese. We are going to translate them. They mean nothing. We will put them over gameplay. Here are names that you don't know. Like, what?
I pity the fool who consults with Square Enix on how to make video games anymore.
I mean, but for real, like, did anybody else get that vibe? Like, this is a Square Enix trailer.
Did any of you see the Nintendo Treehouse thing for that?
No.
No.
It was
Please
dark as
share.
fuck. Like, the game, like, you're gonna have to play it in a dark room. Like, you could barely see what was going on.
Pardon?
So,
Like,
dark mean
the-
like visually
Like the-
dark?
the
yeah,
lighting
visually
was
dark.
dark.
Like, the
Uh-huh.
lighting was dark. There was barely, like, this beginning section, you start in, like, this forest, and there's, like, some blue lights, but other than that, there's not much. They have a really cool character creation thing going on.
I think it might just be that section, because I saw it at GameSpot's stage demo thing. They played it for about 20 minutes. I didn't think it looked that dark. It was very bright and colorful, and they were in an open field, so it may just be that forest.
Okay.
'Cause that sounds like something that team would do. I mean, just to go back to Xenogears real quick, the forests in Xenogears were always really dark, and you always felt lost in them. So I think that's just something that they do. But I don't know. Anybody else on X?
Here's a crap
'Cause I'm
load of
gonna call
footage
it-
for you guys to watch. By Kotaku had this on there. So no, I'm disappointed. But I guess whatever. Less games to buy in the fall, I guess.
Yeah. Is it kind of terrible that we're at that point when like games get delayed? It's like, oh, we won't have to spend as much money.
It's sad to get excited in that way. More for strippers and blow.
Yeah, right? We need to go full Itagaki this year. Like,
That should be like the launch party, like Itagaki's thing is like, show up at midnight and get free strippers and blow.
dude, I would love to follow that guy around and like just like in like a downtown area and go clubbing with that dude for like an evening. Because I'm pretty sure I'd be dead by the end of it, but it would be awesome. So anybody else on X, or can we move on to the next thing?
Next thing.
Next thing. Okay, so the next thing Nintendo showed was the Mario Maker, kind of Little Big Planet-esque platform creator game. I'm kind of amazed it took them this long to use it to do that. The thing that stands out to me is it looks like it looks like you can switch between like the different physics and styles from each game. So you might have like Super Mario Brothers, the original 3, maybe one of the new Super Mario Brothers Wii games, and like how the characters play and what the enemies do, and like the visual style. So I thought that was really cool. Anybody want to talk on that for a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why don't we go with DSS first, and then we'll jump back over to you, baseball.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, Little Big Planet Killer. Everyone last night ragging on it about how the physics sucked. Now we have now we have the platforming king, arguably, doing the same kind of thing, and I think it'll be exciting to see what a mainstream audience will do with this. But the concept's not entirely new, but like people have been hacking old Mario games for years. Just a quick look through YouTube sees what amazing things have been done with Super Mario World, for example. Even I've played around with it, but I'm excited to see what kind of stuff is going to come out of that. We're going to probably see a lot of Kaizo bullshit, but some of the really well designed levels that could be done, I'm excited to see. And I don't know if they do like content packs where you can switch to like Mario World and Mario 3 and all that stuff. I think it could be great. Maybe not $60 great. I'm hoping an eShop thing, but I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah, I think price is definitely one of the most important things about that game, and I was actually thinking about that right as you started to talk about it. Like right before you said, I was like, man, how much is that going to cost? Like, is this a $60 release? Like, and the other thing is, what can you do with it? Like, do you have the ability to switch your levels together and make your own? Like, I want to make World 1. You know what I mean? So like, can I do that? Can I like, how big can I make them? Like, how long can I make this level? Like, can I go ham and make it crazy? Can I make it one of those levels where like the sun fucking chases you around and you're terrified? I don't know. Based on what did you think of that one?
I think Nintendo's got high hopes for this to be similar to like a Minecraft sort of hit, in which it, sucks in people. And I think it can play along with a lot of the things they've been doing lately. Like they announced Amiibo, and I think you could, put on an Amiibo figure and like warp them into the Mario Maker, and then kind of switch it up like the NES remix style. So you could throw in, I don't know, like Samus from Super Metroid, and then she would be like playing in the Mario Maker sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of potential in that game. My only problem is it's again on the Wii U, and I don't know if people are really going to receive it in the same way that they received Minecraft,
Yeah.
So I think Nintendo's got high hopes for it, but I think the reality of the circumstance is that their hardcore community will probably latch onto it, but I don't know if you can sell that game to sell the system.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a system seller. I think that's like a nice little thing for someone who has it.
It's interesting to see, though, that there were a number of games that have been debuted already, like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, that Nintendo is kind of dabbling in that smaller game territory, like something that seems like it could be easily digested on a mobile platform. So it's interesting to see them dabbling with it. I just, who knows exactly what trajectory that's taking them on.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good point, and they've been doing that on the 3DS for a little bit with stuff like Pushmo and Dylan's Rolling Western, and little downloadable games that are exclusive and developed by Nintendo, and like you wouldn't think that's a Nintendo game. So it's really cool to kind of see that mentality come to Wii U, and I guess you can't say that they're not taking that like you should go mobile criticism to heart at all. Champ, do you have any thoughts on Mario Maker?
Looks cool. Kind of long overdue. It's a smart move. I mean, if it allows, like you said, it comes down to details and pricing. Like if it's priced right and the details are good, read the comments. But if it's priced right and like all the details are good, it should be cool. Like, who does? I mean, we already have things like this, but like it's cool that a Nintendo platform has something like this.
Yeah, so. I think definitely. And yeah, like you said, long overdue. And the ability to switch between the games is the thing that like wows me because they showed that a little bit. I want to see more of that. Like how ham can I take that? Like can I switch mid level? So it'll be interesting. Details are going to be the killer. And before you all, do you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, pricing? No.
I think I'll stick up for Hiroka and said he was like flabbergasted that Nintendo would have the gall to give you something. Didn't he say that yesterday? give us something that you have to make your own levels for or something like that. So I don't know.
Project Spark. Make your own Conquer.
Can I put Conquer in my fucking Mario game?
There you go.
That's the
He's not
amiibo
getting his
figure.
own.
You
That's the amiibo
bastards,
figure I want.
Microsoft. Just bringing up the name Conquer now just makes me want to throw things.
Right? Oh, thank you.
Let's not get carried away with who's shittier in terms of naming things and not delivering, because we still have to get to that one.
Okay. So, guys, any other thoughts on Mario, or should we move on to Splatoon shooter?
Let's move.
Let's move on.
Let's do Splatoon.
Heil, do you want to introduce this one, or does anyone want to take this one? Anyone feel strongly about it?
I feel strongly about it.
Goggin, take it for us.
Yes.
So
please.
every E3 or any forum or anything that has to revolve around the words Nintendo comes down to, they make Mario, Zelda. Sometimes they throw in Samus, sometimes they throw in Zelda and more Mario, right? So like the idea is that people always bitch they don't make a new IP. Well, here you go. This is Nintendo using one of their in-house studios, allegedly I think one of their bigger in-house studio teams, and making a brand spanking new IP. What they ended up making is a 4v4 multiplayer shooter in Splatoon. I'll open the floor with how do you say your Jonathan Hust?
In before you all.
It's in before
Before
you
you
all.
all. Okay, yeah.
I'm not editing that out either, so I don't know. Whatever.
I thought it was a really cool game. I don't know that I would pay $60 for it, but definitely like 30 or 40. It looks like there's a lot of cool little strategies that you can use, and the special weapons look interesting.
How did you feel about the look of the game?
I thought it looked pretty cool, pretty good. Some of the pictures on System Wars, kind of funny with the
The Rule
concept
34.
art.
I see we're getting the perverted Terry. Basin, you have some thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I like the first look at the game. I was just like, this looks so Japanese, like the anime character, and then inking stuff, and I was just like, okay, like part of me was kind of like, this is interesting, and then the other, I was like, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. But I'm super skeptical about this game because just it looks like it's a third-person shooter, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking at some of the gameplay, but that's what it appeared to be to me. So, but just the concept of it is like it's a multiplayer only sort of MOBA atmosphere, and you just incessantly spam the environment with paint or ink, sorry. And I don't know, like, I get what Nintendo's trying to do. They're trying to like show that they have like a shooter presence in some way, and this is like their unique spin on it. But I just don't understand, like, who gets sucked into like just spamming bullets. Doesn't matter where you aim them, just like splatter them everywhere. And like that really is the metagame in this. Like I don't know. It's certainly not a game for me, but I hope it does well for Nintendo's sake.
I want to jump on this one real quick if I can. I think the ideas behind it are cool. I really like the art style. Fucking that Rule 34 shit is never gonna get out of my head. So fuck
You're
you guys. Yeah, seriously, fuck you, DSS. But I like the idea of that. I think they showed off a territories mode briefly, right? So like cover stuff in paint, like that is cool because territories hasn't changed that much since I think it was UT did that first. It was either UT or Quake. And so it's like, okay, like, you go stand in this thing and then you capture it and then you kind of hold it. But like the idea of, hey, we can capture it from far away and maybe keep holding it if our aim is good enough or if we have these interesting ideas, like that is something cool to me that I didn't think Nintendo would like take like a unique perspective on. And, hey, like realistically, like it's kind of cool that Nintendo is making a shooter just for the fact that they're doing it. It didn't like, what? Like who? What are you? Who are you? And what have you done with Nintendo? Like, where are these people coming from? Did you like steal some people from friggin' Tecmo Koei while you were over there or something? Like, did you pull some guys from Valhalla Game Studios and just be like, hey, paint, go? I don't know. I'm interested in it. I like one of you guys said, I don't know if it's a $60 game, like $30, $40, definitely interesting experiment. But I know And Before You All wants to jump on this again real quick, so go ahead.
Somebody said that he thought that just spamming paint at the environment wouldn't be cool. There were a lot of different things where, like, they showed in the treehouse thing where you can like make this line of paint and then everybody else, because they have this jumping mechanic where you can jump to everybody else if they're like in their own territory, can jump to them. And there's also things with like the squids going. I think there's going to be more than just I'm going to put paint freaking everywhere.
Well, I hope so, because if that was the concept, then I'm like, no, that's just not going to work.
That's the part of the game that has me the most excited. All the movement options, not just like I'm praying to God this is an eShop game and cheap, but the movement options over just the simple fact it's not another shoot the brown guy game. That gets me really excited for it. Like I deliberately stay away from Call of Duty. The only shooter I've played in forever is Borderlands because it's just so done. But this just looks like such a exciting take on the shooter that I want to see more. I want to see it have some more substance, but I want to see more.
I mean, you can't do this with a game with guns, though, right? Like, there's no way. Like, well, what are you gonna do? Paint the floor with guns? So it's like this is like a good match. Like Nintendo would never do a game with guns because come on, Geist does not count as a game. That does not count.
That was a tech demo that you could play.
That was a really bad thing that they did. But like this looks like, hey, let's make a multiplayer game and let's work around the idea of a shooter. And like they took a really stale game mode and turned it into something fresh and then like built momentum around it. A question I would ask is like you guys are all saying like I'd only play for $30, but I'm saying like if this was a full featured multiplayer game, like not to be that asshole, but like we always bitch at single players game for tacking on multiplayer. Are we really saying this can't be $60 for multiplayer only because it doesn't have a tacked on single player?
Oh, it can. I just didn't see the content there at this point in time.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't see $60 worth of content here.
I mean, I'm as Gaga knows, like I'm a huge fan of Titanfall. Like, if the content is there or if the gameplay is engaging enough for me, like sure, $60. Like, but we haven't seen it yet, you know. Okay. And I know you feel the same way about Titanfall. Like, that multiplayer game. Like, that could totally happen. So.
Like, I think it should work both ways. Like, if you want a single-player only game, you should be cool with a multiplayer. Which, like, fine. I think you guys make a valid point. Like, it only showed us one game mode, and in modern multiplayer games, like, one game mode is like, what? Like, the fuck out of here.
The only way you can get away with that is if you're a fucking MOBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And fuck MOBAs. So, so I think moving on, everybody's had enough to say on that. Somebody stop me real quick if I'm wrong, but I want to move on to Captain Toad now. I fucking loved that. Like, I about lost my shit when they showed that. I love the little Captain Toad sections in Super Mario 3D World, and I know one of you is going to disagree with me, and like that was the worst part. I think DSS said that, so fuck you, buddy. But
okay. Let me clarify. They were good. Super Mario 3D World was amazing. They were just the weakest portion, in my opinion.
Fair enough. But I mean,
weakest portion of 3D World.
Oh, here we go.
Weakest portion of the game. Like, I mean, you had those lame boss fights that are bad in any platformer ever. Like,
I enjoyed.
I thought they were nice change of pace scenarios, and more importantly, they were so optional.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I think to me the big appeal was it made you tackle the game in like a new way. That like you know you're used to having that jump, using how to have like an attack ability of some kind. So like leaving you powerless and figuring out like, hey, what's the best way to do this? Like how can I interact with the environment in this way? How do I beat this timer? You know what I mean? That's cool to me. So and I think some of the stuff.
It forced me to switch back to the Wii U gamepad. I'm still a little bitter about that.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that part I'm not a fan of, but you know, I like from what some of the stuff they showed, I think we're gonna be able to do like more than just walk around. Like they showed him shooting some stuff at some piranha plants, and the piranha plants got killed, and so I'm interested. And there was that big dragon thingy at the end, so that's cool.
I hope you can run because they were really slow.
You could run in the 3D world.
Well, I'm an idiot.
You just couldn't jump.
Yeah, you can run. You just like there's no up or down movement. It's all straight line.
Okay.
So you have to kind of be on that. And I apologize, John. I didn't mean to offend you with that a little bit earlier. And I should apologize to DSS too. But
No, you shouldn't.
But seriously, fuck you, buddy. But no, all in good fun. I understand that complaint. Initially I was a little put off by that, but the longer I played that, the more it was like my girlfriend and I would get to like a Captain Toad section and we'd be like super incredibly hyped for it. So we co-op that game.
I can see it being positioned as an awesome puzzle game. Kind of like a different take on Mario versus Donkey Kong, but
It is a puzzle game, though.
it's from what I saw,
It's a puzzle game.
From what I saw, it was trying to be a platformer and a shooter too. But
Change of pace scenarios, but like that's fine. It's still a puzzle game. Like if it's playing by the same rules as stuff in 3D World, it would be a puzzle game.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anybody else on Captain Toad? Mason Boy, you got anything to add?
No, I haven't seen any footage on it yet, but it's basically like the stuff from Super Mario 3D World.
I put it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Those were interesting. I never found any of the puzzles in those particularly challenging, though. So I don't know. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah. Are any of Nintendo's puzzle games particularly challenging?
Not really. I mean, admittedly, we're all kind of spoiled
up there
by like
they get
games,
up there if you've never experienced an indie puzzle game in the last 5 years.
Like. I don't
You've
think
obviously never played much of the Mario versus Donkey Kong series.
You've never played Antichamber, Braid, Space Cam, World of Goo.
I played.
Let me continue. The Swapper, Cube. I'm pretty sure this is not.
I played like 3 of those. Fair enough.
No, okay. Like, I mean, they're cool if you're playing things like Sudoku, I guess. I guess Nintendo can live up to Sudoku levels of challenge.
Yeah, I mean, like Goggin said, I think we're all kind of spoiled by, like, I know Antichamber Game of the Year spoiled him last year.
Should have been.
Didn't fight hard enough for that one. The Swapper, Braid still breaks my brain on a regular basis. So, like, in that regard, it's like, Nintendo, what can you do? But on the other hand, like, I think those little segments are delightful. And so if that game is not like $60, I'm in. Like day one, like give me Captain Toad, please. I would really like that game.
Yeah, not everything Nintendo has to show needs to be great. They can show a good game. Plus, Toad looks like it would be a good game.
Those puzzles as well aren't intended for like a 20-plus-year-old audience. It's like 5-year-olds to like 14-year-olds. Like, so maybe I'm being a little critical, like saying like those puzzles weren't anything special. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of is what it is.
And to play devil's advocate, if they're putting it into its own thing, like they're gonna ramp it up. They're gonna get up to those kind of challenges that we'd be looking for.
Well, you certainly hope so. Otherwise, how can you sell this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to, like, at the very least, I hope they brought Anoma and some of the Zelda team and said, hey, like, we need you for a couple levels. Like, can you do something crazy? You know, we want the team from the Water Temple and Ocarina. Like, can you round those guys up?
Yeah. Well,
are we going to see a level editor? Do you think a level editor would happen?
In this game? I doubt it.
That would be cool, but that seems completely out of place for Nintendo. Like, I think they could do a standalone level editor, like the Mario one, but like...
Yeah, dude, this 2014 just got to the Mario level editor. Let's not act like, whoa, major shifts are happening there.
I mean, and even if they did, like, you know, I guess it depends on the game because we don't know a whole lot about it. But if it is just, that you can actually engage enemies in only certain segments, and for the most part you're playing the Captain Toad game, I don't know how many interesting ideas you can throw around with that would justify, like, the extent of a level editor. You know what I mean? Like... For a studio, sure, you can play with that to no end because you have the time and the money and there's a lot of creative people over there. But, like, for Joe Schmo on your couch, like, where's the appeal, you know? Like, can you really think of anything you're not going to see in that game? I don't know.
Well, I mean, hold on. One last thing about the difficulty of the puzzle thing. Like, there's two ways since I actually play a lot of puzzles, there's 2 ways of doing a puzzle game. You can either make the puzzles hard until you either tap out and go to YouTube for the answer, or you get the eureka moment and you figure it out. And then there's sort of like the Zelda school of doing puzzle design, which is it's never going to be hard, but it's intricate and it's elaborate and it's still engaging in a different way. Like, you don't feel necessarily like the smartest person for solving it, but you feel like you're when you're solving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they could always go that route with Captain Toad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really want more information about that one. Like, that's one of the ones, like I feel like Zelda, like, we have a decent idea of what that game will be, like, bigger, more open. The specifics are hard to nail down, but, like, we've got what they're trying to do. Like, Hyrule Warriors, we get it. Bayonetta, we know what that is. Devil's Third, we have a good idea of the kind of game Itagaki makes, but Captain Toad is kind of like this in weird little limbo state where it's like, we got to make it bigger. How does that work? You know what I mean? So I think more information on that is good. So unless anyone has any objections real quick, I think it's time to move on to the last little bit from Nintendo's actual show, which was the Star Fox tease. Now,
if you can call it a tease.
It teased
was
me.
a tease.
Well,
I was teased.
As bare as teases get, because like literally showing Miyamoto just dinking around on a Wii pad and Star Fox on the screen behind him.
But I mean, like,
and not even
okay.
like Star Fox on the screen behind him. They had to be douchey about it and be like, "Oh, what could this game be? There's a flying thing." It's like, okay, Miyamoto. You cheeky
I mean, I just want to say where I'm coming from. Like, to me, it was like one of those things. Like, we went into Microsoft conference and I was like, "Show a Conquer game, all is forgiven," and they kind of somewhat did something. Like those fucking dicks. But like going into Nintendo, it was like, man, like I really want a Star Fox game. I really want a Star Fox game. I really want a Star Fox game. I haven't had a good Star Fox game in over a decade. So I really like that. And then at the end, and I'm thinking like at the end, it's like, oh no, Star Fox game. Oh hey, it's Miyamoto. Oh my god, that's an R-Wing. And that just made my day because all I needed to know is that like, hey, we don't think this IP is useless and we're gonna touch it again. Like that to me is enough. For right now. But
in the same light, like other companies come along, like what was it, EA, like teasing off Mirror's Edge again, or like Battlefront, they show like nothing. This Nintendo does the same thing, but everyone's like, oh, thank goodness they showed something about Star Fox. Like, this just doesn't feel substantive enough to me to like warrant like, oh yes, that was a highlight of the show.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I'm coming at it a different angle, I think, than most people because like. I'm that guy that's like been wanting that Star Fox game. Like I'm that asshole in the audience that Reggie set on fire. Like, but what about Star Fox, Reggie? Like that's
Mother
me.
3.
No, stop. Yeah, he didn't say Star Fox. He said asshole.
No, he did bring up Star Fox at one point. He brought up Mother 3 and then he brought up Star Fox. So that was basically me and Goggin. Like it was that guy. We just kind of switched out in between being set on fire.
Got your game.
I'm sorry. Believe me, I want Mother 3 too. Probably not as bad.
Can we just like focus on, because I brought this up in the Sony thing, like all three of the companies were dicks. Like Microsoft did their thing with Conquer. Sony had like 3 assholes mention Vib Ribbon. Assholes. And then Nintendo with the freaking cherry on the asshole cake actually made Mother 3 joke. Not one even glimpse of Mother 3.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Star Fox thing is forgivable because, like, there was a Star Fox thing, and Conquer has something, and Vib Ribbon got mentioned enough that you could kind of be like, next year, like, Vib Ribbon, woo! But Mother 3 is just, like, that's, like, them, like, knowing what their fan base wants and being like, ha, you can't have that. Moving on. But, anybody else excited for a Star Fox game, or is it just me?
I would be.
I'm excited that it exists.
See, yeah.
I haven't played one for so many years. I can't remember the last one I played, but I would definitely be interested in it. I think it'd be used cool on the gamepad. What they could do with it, do some interesting stuff on there. Hopefully, they take advantage of it. Not just put like a stupid thing like a horn. But anyway,
I would be interested as long as if I had no idea how the GameCube ones were, but like having played those, I'm just like, oh, please be good this time. Because I was not a fan of anything post Star Fox 64. For me, I was really mixed bag.
I think Adventure was good for what it was. There were sections in the other two that were great, but I agree. Weren't those developed by studios outside of Nintendo?
One of them was Rare.
Yeah, Rare did one of them. Rare did Adventure.
I gotta twist that knife again.
I don't know who did the other two. I don't think it was a Nintendo studio though, or like it was
Star Fox Assault for the GameCube was by Namco. Rare did Star Fox Adventures. Star Fox 64 is Nintendo in-house.
Okay, yeah. See, that makes sense because the last one
Star
that
Fox
I thought
Super Nintendo is full on Miyamoto.
Yeah, so that's a big thing, and I saw on Kotaku, like when we were talking about Steam before the conference started, or before this call started, when we were saying, they basically said that they had like on the gamepad you had the cockpit view of the game, and then on the TV you would have the third person, and you could switch between them. So that's like their gamepad functionality, which sounds kind of cool to me. Is like go straight cockpit if you want. So maybe they're throwing something interesting in there with the gamepad, but I don't know.
Does it feel like though, like you've got things like Eve Valkyrie on the horizon with VR stuff, and doesn't that just feel like, I don't know, like that just seems so strange to me. Like it just doesn't have quite the hook that you would think it would.
I mean, I don't know. I guess.
Because, I mean, we're going to start seeing that. You're going to start seeing VR stuff where you're in, like, first-person perspective, and Nintendo and Microsoft probably is in the same boat. I don't know what their plans are, but, like, it doesn't have quite that same appeal when just down the shelf at your local Walmart or whatever, you see these VR things going on. So, I mean, that might be a few years away, and Star Fox will probably be out before then, but, I don't know. Just, like, on a conceptual basis, I think that's a natural, like, since the industry's headed there anyways, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When they showed stuff at E3 for, like, Oculus, and I saw some Oculus stuff. I think I've seen a little Morpheus stuff. Like, I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, this doesn't interest me at all. I don't feel like wearing this big clunky thing on my head and breaking my neck when I want to move. I don't know. I don't know. I hope Star Fox is good. That's all. That's all I give.
Like, to be fair, there's still a lot of unanswered questions with VR, but everyone just likes boarding that hype train right now.
Yeah, I mean, Team Facebook, right, or Team Sony. So, whichever side of that you fall on.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to touch on the structure of that conference at all?
Yes.
Because it was pretty unique.
Yes, very much.
Okay, basically, why don't you start us off on that then?
Well, at least it was better than last year's. That's as much as I can say positive. But I still feel like there's like two things to it, because like what EA did and came out, I was like, why didn't you just do a digital thing like Nintendo? Because you had nothing. Like all you showed were teases. There was no reason to get us all into a room and like try to get us excited about stuff that, you're not going to even show. So, like, in that sense, I get, like, what Nintendo's doing, but at the same time, like, I want Nintendo to come out and, like, grab me by the face and be like, this is why Nintendo freaking rocks. And I feel like the digital event doesn't quite grab me on that level.
Yeah, I mean...
Do you think the lack of a crowd noise has a factor in that? Like, you think the crowd is the difference here?
Kind of, yeah. Like, getting people out in front of them, I think it's kind of cowardly almost that they just go and hide behind and, like, do these pre-production things. But the reality is, like, if you take a look at the substantive things they showed, like, it would have been really bad on stage to, like, get out in front of people and a lot of those things. So... I don't know, because I mean, how do you do the Star Fox thing, for example? You get out on stage and you're going to tease it like that? There's a lot of little things.
Live cam in his office. Let's take it to there.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got something from Miyamoto. Let's go say hi to him. Or they pulled that Mega 64 thing where they have the Reggie-bot spying on Miyamoto or something.
Oh no, so those things were fun. Like I liked that actually. I liked especially the Robot Chicken stuff, which I thought was great. I love that Nintendo was self-aware and they invited those guys in to just kind of like poke fun at them a little bit, and they were willing to do that. But like, when it comes to game announcements and get me revved up and excited about Wii U, the fact that it happens over the internet in this way, and that there doesn't really, like, it's harder to come together, I don't know. I just really wish Nintendo would, get out on stage and really, bring it to Sony and Microsoft, but they just are resigned to not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definite, like, upswings to that. Like, the Iwata versus, Reggie thing for the Smash thing was hilarious to me, and I don't think Robot Chicken you could do on a live stage, but like I agree. Like I remember we had an article on Endless Backlog. Do we need all this spectacle at E3? And I was sitting there like so drained and over it and cynical. And then Sony did the whole lights thing for the Destiny show, and I was just like, all right, I'm good. Spectacle, let's do it. So I definitely get what you're saying, but I mean, I think there's pros and cons to each one. So the nice thing is definitely like the length of it. There were no really awkward sections like that Sony conference where Humpty Dumpty got on stage to talk about powers for 10 minutes. So
But on the flip side,
Kill
like
the Batman.
imagine like last year, like when Sony came out and dropped the mic, where they're like $3.99, use games this. That's not the same if you release it on an online video, right? It's like it's so much more like impactful when you have guys out on stage and have the audience there to just like embrace that news and herald it in that way. Like there's just for me a disconnect there that I really wish Nintendo would get back to.
To be fair, though, those moments at E3 are also rare, though. Like
I
those
know.
moments where the
I know,
crowd's
but if you
really
never
into
show
it.
up, they never happen. They'll never happen. 100% of the time, they don't happen if you don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aren't we like sort of getting the first vague hints that maybe E3 is no longer the announcement show? Like, I mean,
Nintendo definitely doesn't want it to be anymore because it's expensive for one, and
they're not the
they don't
only-
get to control the message. Yeah, no, everybody feels that way, but Nintendo's really the ones trying to pull everyone out of it.
Yeah.
But like I don't blame that just on Nintendo going that direction. I blame it so much more on the fact that now there's like it feels like there's an event every other month. Like there's PAX, there's Comic-Con, there's EA does a thing, and QuakeCon is now non-id things all of a sudden. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's, yeah, like now I feel like with the oversaturation of all these like events, E3 has become like a literal trade show. Like games will be here that you've already heard about. Here's going to be like demonstrations of these things.
Well, that's what it is, though. Really, it's a trade show because
No, that's what it's meant to be. It's like we've put so much stakes onto the press conferences that like we ignored what E3 actually is.
It's for people in the industry. It's not for the normal Joe, really. Because I mean, normal Joes can't go to that. Tickets are like, if you were to go to that, want to go down your own ticket, a normal ticket's like $800 for the weekend. So they definitely want for the industry themselves, trade show, good example of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that E3 is kind of hitting that stride because you've got PAX as the more like for the fan show, and then you've got TGS doing whatever the fuck TGS is doing, and then you've got Gamescom being like, we show PC games. So, I mean, differentiation is nice, but I think the days of like get out there on stage, wow everybody with the pressers, and then you kind of pay attention to the demos on the floor are kind of over. I think maybe the last year for that was like 2010 when Nintendo actually had it drop the mic moment by like showing all this cool shit, but I don't know.
I can't agree with Champ too because without the crowd there, which reveal I tried googling it, but did he come out with a sword and shield? The crowd is crazy.
Sword.
No, that was Twilight Princess. That was 06. That was that year, man. Yeah.
How epic that was. I mean, I kind of agree with baseball. It just doesn't grab me as much, but I guess that's just showcase for games, and then the games get reported on by everybody. So I guess eventually you see them, but it doesn't have the same excitement to me either.
Well, my question to Basin Boy is this: like, if this is like an indication of what E3 is going into, like, and Nintendo's not the only one, right? Like E3 just is going to be more. Here's games you already know are coming with like a few surprises in there for like a tease, but majority of the show is meant to be about showing games that are coming this holiday and maybe early 2015. Like, do you see yourself and maybe like the general gaming audience checking out a bit more?
If people will go more with these digital announcements and stuff?
Well, yeah, like if they dialed back the spectacle a bit, like they just said, fuck it, like let's just do digital things. And then show up to this event as like, hey, like we got our games, go check them.
I forgot who it was, but there was a Japanese developer because they did this. This was kind of in the transition between the PS2 generation, the PS3 generation, where like E3 was like out of control.
Kojima.
Like it was, I think it was Kojima or somebody, and they were like, they came to E3 one year, and it was like dialed back in that way because like they were still trying to handle the costs of that transition, and it's just like this just isn't the same. And I think that's the way I react, and I feel like other people would react the same way. Just like if you do these digital things, and like because I don't know, media translated through the internet is just kind of the general trend. That's how it's going to happen. But it just doesn't feel the same without the spectacle because it's the one chance that people get to come together and really like developers and fans participate online where everybody just gets to champion games and games alone. And I think that's part of the reason why Microsoft and Sony, when they talked about TV, like they just get massacred sometimes because this is about gaming. And without that spectacle, it's not as exciting anymore. And if you take that out each year, it's hard. It's harder to get revved up each year to be excited about. What is it? The lower budget games, lower scale ones, are the ones that don't have huge marketing budgets. And I like the format as it is, and I just wish Nintendo were more enthused about participating in it.
No, they're
Well
still
said.
they're still at E3. It's just they're not doing a conference, right? I mean, they got
Oh.
booths. They got booths.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Sorry. Now I'll just erase all that rambling. Then I just.
So I mean, the booths.
Oh
are
wait, you
still-
were under the impression they didn't even show up?
Who? Nintendo?
Yeah.
Well, without that big spectacle, without having the spotlight on you, yeah, I think you lose a little bit of it. So.
I think that point's still valid regardless. I mean, but I think Nintendo's going to have a booth there until Nintendo as a company no longer exists.
yeah.
But
Of course
I
it will.
agree. But I agree that sometimes I like Nintendo's directs when they're well done. I think this year they did a very good job. It was well paced. It wasn't long. It did what it needed to do when it got out of the way. But I agree there is something to be seen for those oh shit moments where Gabe Newell is on Sony's stage, or those things that or Miyamoto comes out with the fucking sword, or the one more thing, here's the Halo 3 reveal, or Jack Tretton comes out on stage and just begins shitting on Microsoft left, right, and center. You can't do that without a live show from a stage with the lights and the smoke and the nonsense. And I don't know. I think if we move too far away from that, we're going to lose something and we'll never get it back.
And before y'all,
I'd
do you have
like
a comment?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's been mentioned yet, but Blab, we had a thread similar to this on the forum, and Blab made a very good point. We, as the very core gamers, definitely get something from E3, but he made a point that large part of Nintendo's audience doesn't watch E3. So doing the direct and being at E3, what they did is still very good for us, but they don't get as much out of it.
What do you mean a large part of Nintendo's audience doesn't watch E3?
That a large part of their audience doesn't watch E3. Some of the
I
games.
think
he
but
means-
I'm saying if you're meaning the casual, are you trying to mean a casual audience?
I'm saying
casual
that,
audience, younger gamers,
Okay, younger gamers, you'd have a point, but I was gonna say casual audience. This is the only time the gaming industry gets this kind of attention is E3.
Yeah, but
and
do
I'm
they
saying they
watch it is
still
the
showed
question.
up. They still showed up for us and have demos we can watch. The Treehouse, they did their direct, but they definitely don't get as much out of it.
But isn't that a fundamentally losing strategy? Because Xbox and PS1 or PlayStation are trying to steal from each other all the time. And if Nintendo's not showing up and that audience, those guys as customers, are not seeing them, then how are they getting in front of them?
Well, like I said, they're at the convention.
They're still making something there. They still have a
Journalists
presence.
can go up and play their
They're just being
games.
efficient with their funds and not going big on something that they don't get a huge benefit from.
Well, I think that's their fault that they're not getting a lot of response, and that's the business structure, business direction that they need to take it in if they want to appeal to that audience. But it just sounds to me like they don't care about it. They have a very specific idea and image of themselves, and they just are very stubborn about deviating from it.
To be fair, though, we're saying Nintendo's struggling because they've shown that they're struggling, but Rockstar is a good example of if you do your job at a high enough level and your audience is there, E3 is pointless.
Yeah.
When was the last time Rockstar any of their games has needed E3?
Well, they showed up at
Grand Theft Auto.
Sony.
Red Dead wasn't at E3. Red Dead did fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's the same with Blizzard, but they have their own convention now. You know what I mean? When they announce something, the gaming world just kind of sits up and says, "Oh," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
I think Nintendo is trying to build a digital audience that will follow them on a digital level, and it might take some time, but it's doing it. But more, maybe go a different direction with your point. The next time Nintendo says we're back at E3, there is a shitload of pressure on them.
Yeah.
They are not allowed to have a shit
yeah.
conference. Their next E3 conference has to be Mario, Metroid, Zelda, and new IPs out the ass.
Oh yeah, they got to be packing megatons if they want to come back to the show. But who knows if they want that? I don't know if they ever
Or they
ever
might
want
just
to.
have their own conference like Blizzard and the other people do.
Yeah,
That's true.
they could.
All right, so is everybody happy with that? Then that's pretty good coverage. You want to talk about some more? What about you, Darkspine? Any last words on the conference as a whole, or
a lot of it was covered. I'm a little less pessimistic about what it means for the future, and I enjoyed what they're doing with it. Like, they're still releasing stuff. Like, just before we started this, they were talking about a new 3DS IP. It's they're spreading it out. I don't think it's entirely comparable. I do think if the rest of the industry follows them, we're going to lose something in the process. But what they're doing, I think, works for them.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Joe, to today's world, you release something and the other side of the world knows about it literally within seconds. So, and then the gaming industry is everybody jumps on a story. So if there's a new game, every website, every magazine is going to have a spot on it because that's just it's a new game. So it doesn't matter. It'd be hard pressed to find a game that says it's releasing in 2 months that you haven't heard about prior. I mean, of course, you can build excitement, and that builds sales, but the industry gets plenty of coverage on games. But anyway, should we rate the conference then, and then call it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
and let's all have everyone say like their top moment of E3 at the end of this too.
Yeah.
Like whether it was a low light or a highlight, just what to you was the most memorable thing you're taking away from E3 2014.
All right, so
I'll even go further and say let's do
So
a top
not just
three
Nintendo, like all of E3?
Yeah, just the one moment, the one thing.
or a top three. Let's do a top three for everybody. That way, if you have something from one of each conference, you can just do that real quick.
All right,
Just
so
make it quick.
Let's start with in before you all. You go first.
Well, I have probably a top two and bottom moment. Bottom moment was definitely Sony just completely fucking ignoring the Vita. Top moment, Iwata and Reggie fighting, and probably the Zelda announcement.
Okay.
And what did you grade the Nintendo conference? A through F.
On a scale of
I thought it was the best one. I gave it an A. It was most entertaining, not necessarily I liked what they did.
All right, Darkspine.
I'm gonna have to go with A. Champ is gonna have his 2 cents here, but I thought they should.
We don't have enough time for my 2 cents today. Apparently.
Yeah, that have you seen this man? He writes freaking books. Okay.
Okay, well, at least to me, they introduced the most exclusives, the most new IPs, the most interesting content to me. Like, I got exactly what I expected out of Nintendo at E3 and more, and they're continuing to drop bombs. Like, they've executed this really well, better than they have in years. A for Nintendo. As for a top, I'm gonna do the same as John. Top and bottom. Bottom was definitely Oswald Cobblepot and that whole Powers shenanigans in the middle of Sony's conference. And top would probably have to be the infamous content. I loved Second Son to an insane degree, and I'm really looking forward to First Light.
I swear you're the first person on the entire internet I've heard say anything positive about Infamous First Light.
It looks awesome. I loved using the neon power.
I know. I pre-ordered it. Like, I bought it yesterday because I like Second Son too, but like the internet just shits on that game for some reason.
It's a DLC at E3.
Yeah.
I know. And I bought it. It's already purchased.
I understand why it was under the radar, but
no,
it's
that is
something
in the same
I got hyped for.
Yeah, but that's like in the same league as showing me Sims 3 and TV at E3. It's DLC. You could have done this any other way. This is supposed to be the Megaton show, not we got DLC for a game you already have.
True, but like, other than Star Fox, I don't think too many Megatons were dropped, period. But it came down to the presentation for me, and pretty much Nintendo took it in my mind. Champ's gonna say something.
Oh, am I next?
Yep.
Yeah, let's just jump to you. You clearly want to talk.
Okay, so I mean, no, I think if we were paying attention to this talk, I wasn't super negative on everything Nintendo showed. I mean,
no, you clearly want to talk about it.
So I mean, like, I came into E3 when it came to all three of them, and I said, I'm not going in to be surprised. I'm not going in for a Megaton. I just want to be showed games I want to play, and all three of them delivered on that. So Like, I had a good time with everyone at E3, except for EA, but whatever, fuck them. And Ubisoft, but that's because Ubisoft sucks. Whatever. So, like, Nintendo's a B to me. Like, they did a good job. Like, I was entertained the whole time. I think Bayonetta 2 looks fantastic in spite of the fact of not having a fucking release date. You know, whatever. I think there's a different discussion I could have about Nintendo that I believe I think they're getting a bit of a free pass in terms of this whole they won thing. It's like, come on, no, stop. They're being held to a lower standard than the other two. Let's not even joke. What they did was pitch a no-hitter in AAA baseball, and they're being compared against 2-hit pitchers in the major leagues. That's what's really happening. So, fuck their winning bullshit. Anyway, as for the top highlight, well, the highlight has to be when I got Conker, Vib Ribbon, and Mother 3. Oh, wait a minute. No, I got teased about those fucking things. So fuck you to Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft collectively for being assholes. That is the low light today. Dicks. Oh god, like there's no other, like I would rather listen to the Powers guy than be teased like that. Anyway, as for positive, I don't know. Games, like I liked a lot of games. Batman looked really good. Witcher 3 looks fantastic. There's a bunch of indie games. The indie scene continues to show that they're the most creative side of the industry. Nintendo has 2 new IPs at E3. Literal hell had to have frozen over for Nintendo to create something new for once. Legend of Zelda looks pretty. I guess that's a thing. Bayonetta 2 looks dope. Itagaki's back in our lives. This is a good E3. I liked it. All of E3 is a highlight.
Hide your kids.
Those 3 douchey moments.
Hide your kids and hide your wife. Itagaki's back in your life.
Exactly.
He's run out of hookers and blow. God help me.
He's now making video games. Oh Lord.
All right, Dark Link, you go next.
Well, as far as Nintendo's conference goes, on pure entertainment value, I score them an A because I had a shit-eating grin plastered over my face for that entire conference. Nintendo has this amazing way of making things joyous that like very few other game companies can do, just from like when you're playing an incredible Nintendo game to when you're watching them do something like ridiculous like that direct. Like they have this ability to inspire joy. As a conference itself that was showing me things, solid B. Star Fox is amazing. Thank you, Nintendo, for actually realizing that franchise exists. A lot of cool, interesting little information. Hyrule Warriors looks cool. Smash looks cool. I want the new Zelda. I pretty much want everything they showed. So it was basically like, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy that. But, like, they didn't have the megatons aside from, oh my god, Star Fox is real. And, like, I kind of figured that was going to happen. Like, there were a couple leaks that were saying that was going to happen, so I was, like, really banking on it, but solid conference B overall. As far as Nintendo didn't have a drop the mic moment. Is what Goggin said, and he's absolutely right. And really nobody did, which is kind of sad. Everyone had a lame ender. Nintendo wins on ending just because Star Fox is a thing again, but it's like, hey look, Crackdown, no gameplay. Hey look, Uncharted, no gameplay. Okay.
Hey look, it's Zelda.
Where was the gameplay in Star Fox?
There was gameplay there.
Of like off screen and all, you can't even tell what's going on.
I saw that R-Wing turn the fuck around. You shut your mouth.
All right, fine. I digress on that one.
As far as top moments go, I'm going to do the lows first. 1, fuck you, Microsoft. Give me a Conquer game. I do not want to make that game myself. You should not be that lazy. Oh man, that was the ultimate slap in the face. I was so hype. I was sitting there with Goggin, like waiting, like, yay, Conquer, we're cutting down the Project Spark logo and we're gonna show something amazing.
Like it was gonna be the oh shit moment. Like Conquer's gonna come out on stage and just poke fun of Microsoft. Nope. He's an add-on.
Right?
And that still wasn't even the douchiest part of E3 because Sony and Nintendo still had to go.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, this is the best transition I have ever seen. We're cutting Project Spark out. Conker's on stage with a chainsaw to announce his new game. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Microsoft. Nope. Add-on content, Project Spark. When the 2 million fucking Conker levels show up in Project Spark, then I'm going to be like, ha! Now you have to do it. But until then, worst moment.
They'd
fuck
probably
those guys.
make Conker free to play those assholes.
They would, too. Oh, God, you're making it worse. Stop. As far as good things go, it's Star Fox and it's Ori and the Blind Forest, which remains my personal favorite thing that we saw at those conferences. I love the look of that game. I love the music. I love the ability of that trailer to tell a story in like 30 seconds, like that up montage. I want that game. I want to play it. I want to play it really bad. I want to play it tomorrow. And Star Fox existing again is like, that's the one thing I wanted from Nintendo when they gave it to me. So those are my ups and downs.
All right, Basin
Kyle,
Boy,
what
you're
about
next.
you?
Did Basin Boy already go?
Oh, no?
No, I haven't. Not gone.
Oh, Basin Boy goes then. Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. All right, finally. All right, first I'm going to start with Nintendo score, and I'm going to get shit for it, but I'm totally okay with it. I give him a D+ because it just, unfortunately, like you can't. I'm not going to give them any credit for being a lower standard. You don't show up.
Stop clapping, goddammit! The man needs to speak.
If you don't show up, you don't get a good grade. Like you don't go to class, you don't pass. That's basically how it goes. So, and I'm still passing them somehow with a D+. So. But of the things I liked, like, I mean, the Robot Chicken stuff was great. I liked it. I liked the fact that they were loosey-goosey about it in some parts. But really, substantively, when I step back and look at everything Nintendo showed, nothing gets me revved. Like, there's there's things in the pipeline that I expected because it's Nintendo's console, and they're going to happen. Like, the Wii U is going to get a Zelda game. It's getting a Zelda game. So, like, all that stuff, like, yes, wonderful. It's on its way. Like, it kind of felt to me a little bit like they were saying, please be excited. Like, okay, well, I'll try to. So that's my score on Nintendo's conference. And for my 3 moments of E3, I'm going to be a negative Nancy. The first one is Conquer, as everyone's already touched on. So one more time to reiterate, Microsoft, you are bastards for that. Why do you do this to us? So that, first of all. The second thing is Ubisoft and EA. I gave Nintendo crap for doing the digital event, but you know what? If they were going to show up and do what Ubisoft and EA did, like I would have preferred the digital event because one, EA showed freaking nothing. So thanks for wasting my life. And then Ubisoft brought back Aisha Taylor again. And please God, don't do that anymore. She is not a good MC, and you need to just scrap that entire idea. I don't know who has like a love crush with Aisha Tyler, but no more.
Do you watch Archer?
I do, and I love Archer, and I think she's the best character, it has an excellent performance. Is Lana Kane? I think that's her full name. Yeah, I love Archer, and I love her in that. But please, just no more with her in video games. Like, it just is awkward to me on stage, and just rubs me the wrong way.
She's inconsistent. She can be really entertaining in like brief stretches, but then she'll have like a super awkward moment. It's like,
when she's crying after the Rainbow Six thing, and you're like, whoa.
I know. You're like, oh, come on. Like, that's a ploy. Like, there's no way that's authentic. But the biggest thing to me from E3 is what wasn't there. That's the thing that frustrates me the most. Like, Final Fantasy 15 was a no-show, and I'm still just like, is this game even real? So that thing not showing up pisses me off. The fact that we heard nothing about Rhyme, The Last Guardian, everybody's gone to the Rapture. Like, all the games that I really wanted to hear more about, a lot.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, like the games still, it's the games that don't get announced that always stand out to me at E3. And so, the ones that don't get shown off more are always just frustrate the hell out of me. And who posted that? Laugh aloud, Square Enix. Like, seriously, Square Enix just continues to break my heart. And everything they do now, I just laugh out at them. Just, they're pathetic. So, anyways, there you go.
All right, for me, I would give Nintendo a C. I thought they did all right. I mean, they definitely came in last in my book for what they've showed or didn't show. My worst moment was seeing Project X, Xenoblade Chronicles, whatever, getting pushed to 2015. I had high hopes that'd be coming out this year, but Nintendo said no. And my highlights were probably a solid release date for Sunset Overdrive. We know that's October 28th of this year, so...
Must be nice getting release dates for games you want.
Yep. And then, of course, the Uncharted reveal. I knew it was coming, but it just any work that I see of the master top 5 game of all time maker Naughty Dog make is just a privilege to us all. So,
world class.
Thank you, Naughty Dog.
The gauntlet is cast. Come at me.
That's all I had. So is that it for everybody, or any other final words?
That's E3 2014 for you.
Make sure if you haven't heard, I know we haven't brought this up, but go to endlessbacklog.com.
Or you could subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher.
There we go. So why don't you get us out of here, Darklink? You led most of that because I felt like you probably knew the conference better than me because I lost interest in it, to be honest with you. So,
all right,
maximum integrity.
Maximum integrity, yeah. First, obviously, thank you to Heil and the Pedal to the Metal crew for having us on. The Master, #legendary. Thank you guys for having us here again. Thank you to Willie for streaming us live for about the first hour of this. And thanks to everyone here. So, Bass Boy, Champ, DSS, and of course, and before you all for joining us. We hope you guys liked this little bit of recap we did on Nintendo, and it was awesome to be here for me personally. So, thanks again. Stay salty, System Wars. I think we're out. Peace.
All right, later.